I am off to see Moonfall, the critically panned film, because that is what won the poll. Everyone voted to make me suffer. I'll remain optimistic though. See everyone after the movie.
I am back from seeing Moonfall, and wow, what a life-changing experience. Just the ideas of life, like the universe and our place in it.
Where to begin? It's not very often that art can change your perspective, though one could say that is the true purpose of all art, to make us reflect, look inward, and evaluate ourselves. To evaluate the world around us through a lens presented to us by the creator of this art we are able to admire. And when we're finished looking through this lens offered up to us, maybe, just maybe, we see the world a bit differently. Maybe it changes how we go about our lives and how we consider our actions. Moonfall was this movie for me. Now I must say that I had my doubts going in, given its lackluster reception from movie critics and the general underwhelming nature of its trailers. But it didn't take long for this film, nay, this cinematic experience, to light a spark in me. Somewhere around 5 minutes into the film, where the CGI black cloud that looks like a giant nanobot Venom symbiote appears, I knew this would be no ordinary disaster movie. This was a disaster movie for the ages. As Patrick Wilson argued with discount Candace Owens about the lyrics of Africa by Toto, his entire world was turned upside down. A true piece of irony, as they are so concerned with the continent of Africa, this small place down on Earth, that they are unable to comprehend the true and immediate threat right in front of them, as it destroys their space station and kills their friend. Already I was sold on what I thought could be this generation's Interstellar, but Moonfall didn't stop there. No, it sucked me in further, deeper, much like the characters in the movie were sucked in further when they went inside the moon and got abducted by the tractor beam inside the station in the moon's core. A year and a half after this horrendous tragedy Patrick Wilson endured where he lost his friend, which Candace Owens also endured, let me remind you, he is a broken man. He's lost his job as an astronaut, his family is separating, and caught in the middle of it all is his son, who is literally named Sonny. Yes, this divorce and shattering of his father's world in turn breaks the child, showing that the sins of the father do, in fact, come back to haunt the son. Or, should I say, the Sonny. It breaks him so deeply, fractures his psyche so incredibly, that Sonny develops an accent as if he was from Brooklyn and also Italian. But sadly, he is not able to take his trauma and forget about it. But soon after reuniting with his father, the accent is able to completely disappear, showing the deep, symbolic nature of Sonny and Patrick Wilson's healing process, beginning when the world is at its bleakest, most darkest point. Now, you may have noticed that for most of the characters in this cinematic masterpiece, I am referring to them by their actor's name. If I'm being honest, that is because I have absolutely no idea what their characters' names were throughout the movie. And that's the point, isn't it? In times of such global crisis, we cannot see ourselves as an individual, a selfish loner out for their own purposes. Humanity is the true character in this film, the only one worth truly latching onto. Sonny, the only character whose name I actually recall, is just our emotional through line through this experience. His experience of family is universal, and helps us connect to the billions of characters in this movie worth remembering. The billions of humans who survive the moon crashing into the Earth. Moving on to the plot, never have I seen such care, such economy, and such brilliant mastery of pacing all on display in such a perfect, economical script. Each character serves a purpose, and that purpose is expertly conveyed repeatedly throughout the movie. Instead of wasting time with these complex characters with multifaceted goals, purposes, and dreams, Roland Emmerich throws that all out the window to give us something even better, something more efficient to give us what we all really want to see, a moon crashing into the Earth. To say I was awestruck by the movie's ability to characterize would be an understatement. I mean, who can forget the character played by John Bradley, whose personality is conspiracy theorist loser. Now sure, he has a British accent despite living in LA, and his mother is an American, but we won't waste time, we won't waste nary a second developing that or exploring his life at all. What's important is that he is a genius, knew about the moon basically being a hollow Death Star this whole time, outsmarted NASA, and is definitely, most importantly, in the right. Treating a wingnut conspiracy character like this in a movie, and movies in general for decades, has definitely not had some sort of negative effect on American society. No, sir. We are a mentally healthy nation. Certainly not one that would model ourselves after a character that is essentially QAnon for the moon, but more insane. Also, he ends up being right and the literal savior of humanity in more ways than one. And also, you should feel bad for him because his mom has Alzheimer's. Yes, a perfect encapsulation of the American experience. Deny authority because your character knows better without any qualifications, and also being a literal drive-thru employee who discovered the moon was out of orbit and going to destroy the Earth. And also pity him because sad thing happened. Furthermore, I would like to take this time to retract my statement regarding discount Candace Owens. I had thought she looked like a meld between Candace Owens and Halle Berry. It turns out she is in fact Halle Berry. I feel as if this was another brilliant move by cinema maker Roland Emmerich. Yes, Oscar-winning actress Halle Berry is in this disaster movie where the moon crashes into the Earth, and this just goes to emphasize the themes of the film even more. The ideas of disaster. Because if Halle Berry is in this movie, it must truly be disastrous in her life right now. But money is money, I suppose. Back to the genre-defining cinematic masterpiece known as Moonfall. Believe me when I say that fans of disaster movies are in for a treat. If you think movie cliches are dead, I assure you that you are wrong. All of the staples are here, ladies and gentlemen. So not only can you enjoy a perfect film, a visual spectacle for the ages, but you can also play movie cliche bingo while you do it. I mean, who can't forget classic lines such as, "This is now a military operation," anytime the scientists in the movie are trying to save the planet and get shut down. Or perhaps the good old, "I'm not going anywhere without him," that the protagonist will say when they're taken in by the very same military. He, the straight white man, perfect for the role of saving the world despite being, by all accounts, a bum, is of course referring to the nuanced conspiracy character who happens to know exactly what is happening down to every last detail, who he probably just met like 10 minutes ago. Another classic, "We need you to come with us. It's a matter of national security," said by the very same military that picks these two titans of humanity up. Said by none other than the military, which is somehow no longer being obstructionist, when it was shutting down NASA in the previous scene. I don't remember any quotes from that scene, likely because they were awful. Beautiful. But fans of space sex and child labor and emerald mines can rejoice, as the movie wastes no time in filleting Elon Musk when discussing the space infrastructure needed to achieve a journey to the moon as the world literally crumbles to pieces. Libertarian icon. Moments later, upon the rocket's engine failure, the entirety of NASA gives up immediately because they can't complete the launch. They use this time to remove all of the people from the launch base, presumably because the movie did not want to pay for the extras anymore. Then, immediately upon completing this scene where everyone leaves, the 10 remaining people at the base discover they can still launch their rocket, despite being one engine short. I believe there are 3 engines, just for reference. They decide that they will use the gravity of the moon as it orbits around above them one more time, which is now just barely above the atmosphere, to slingshot themselves into space, completely ripping off the plot of Mission to Mars in Disney World's Epcot. Brilliant. I'd have never thought of that. Possibly because I have a brain. But who cares about science at this point? We most likely threw that out the symbolic window when Techno-Venom killed Patrick Wilson's co-worker at the beginning of this movie. Upon launching into space, the movie really enters a new realm in a few senses. This change in scenery is the perfect opportunity for a change in genre, naturally. The parts in space now delve into sci-fi territory with some lovely existentialism, while the parts on Earth also begin to slowly morph into some sort of Mad Max homage. Brilliant stuff. Now, spoilers beyond this point for those who want to experience this once-in-a-lifetime film in theaters with the full weight of its emotion. And spoiler alert, it does not pull any punches. Prepare to feel everything. You thought Cooper in Interstellar had to watch his own daughter get abandoned by his former self, watch her grow up without him because he was the only way to save humanity, and watch her outage him and watch his daughter die? You thought that was emotional? Well, buckle up, Buster Brown, because you haven't seen anything yet. Alright, so the space team ends up flying to this hole in the crater of the moon where they try to launch an EMP that will kill the cyborg venom cloud. This fails and they almost die because they learn the cyborg venom cloud only attacks when it can sense electronics and organic life in the same place. This is important, remember this later. Back on Earth, the team with Sunny and the other kids gets carjacked by some hillbillies in the literal middle of a mountain range. Walk to a giant trailer park in a valley that is immediately destroyed by the moon's extra gravity because it's orbiting overhead again. Don't worry, they're totally fine somehow. Back in space, the team decides to fly into a hole in the moon with expert pilot Patrick Wilson, the astronaut, who was no longer an astronaut. They end up making it past the rock shell and into some sort of Death Star looking place where they see the power source of the moon is actually a captured white dwarf star. I am pretty sure this means the gravity of the star should instantly kill them, but please never mind that. They get chased around by the technology venom thing and it seems all is lost until a tractor beam pulls them and sucks them inside some hangar bay faster than you could ask yourself what the hell is going on right now. Shut up and enjoy the movie. Back on Earth, Patrick Wilson's son leads everyone to his stepdad's house where he almost gets shot by his mom for some reason because they thought they were trespassing despite it literally being visibly her child. They hang out, and the stepdad, who is Michael Pena, is actually pretty cool. But never mind that, we've got a hangar bay in the moon to check out. So back with Patrick Wilson in space, he gets kidnapped, and his brain is invaded by the aliens living inside the moon. Yes, the aliens living inside the moon. This scene is sort of like the Infinity War snap scene where Thanos talks to the young Gamora, but instead of a cool orange background, it's just whiteness where the camera is kind of out of focus on the main characters. But yeah, Patrick Wilson talks to a simulation of his son, not the current version with the Brooklyn accent, the one from his childhood. His son, who was actually a simulation, and the manifestation of the moon's operating system. Yes, the moon's operating system gives Patrick Wilson all of the lore, and I mean all of it, which is really cool, and there's roughly 25 minutes of movie left. Anyways, the moon tells Patrick, can I call him Patrick? The moon tells Patrick that the ancient aliens living inside the moon guided humanity with technology based out of the moon. See, History Channel is right, guys. Ancient humans, who are the ancient aliens, billions of years ago, lived in a utopia where everything was automated and things worked in perfect harmony. But only until the Fire Nation attacked, and by Fire Nation I mean technology nanobot Venom, who was actually the AI that was in charge of everything the ancient humans had. So yeah, it basically becomes Skynet and tries to kill humans, and there's this huge interesting war that would have made a much better movie, except for the AI being a giant black blob cloud of nothing. So after that, some humans escape and start constructing giant Death Stars to seed new life in habitable planets. Yep, that's right, but the AI Venom Cloud attacks them, and only one escapes. Guess which one escapes? Go ahead and guess. It's the moon, baby, let's go! Anyway, the moon tells Patrick that he needs to kill the AI to save the moon and the world, and Patrick says sure, but only if I can kill myself while I do it, to honor my son. At this point, you might ask why the moon doesn't kill Venom itself, but actually the moon is too weak to fight back right now. So Patrick, Candace Owens, and the less annoying James Corden get their ship repaired and the weapons upgraded, and please forget about the part where I said the moon was too weak to fight back, because then, boom, big space battle inside the moon, where the moon is shooting at the Venom AI to let the humans run away and keep forgetting about the moon not being able to fight back, please. Back on Earth, the atmosphere is running out because the moon gravity is giving the atmosphere the big suck, so the stepdad, Michael Pena, and Sonny find oxygen tanks at a fire station. Then there's a car chase, and the moon starts sucking away all the cars in a suburban Mad Max road chase, and then the good guys hit a sick jump with low gravity, and then they crash or something, so they walk to this tunnel with their oxygen masks, and Michael Pena donates the mask to a little girl that's carrying with them, who is in this movie, by the way, and he dies, which is almost kind of sad, and they get all the way up the mountain before they realize he's gone, though. Also, around this time is where the military decides they're going to try to nuke the moon because they're like, God help us all, which is such an original line in these movies, right? But they decide never mind and just trust the space team with Patrick, Candace, and James Corden. Anyway, back on the moon with the space team, they're ready to kill the nanotech Venom Cloud, and then Patrick and Candace are arguing, and then James Corden gives them the slip and ends up sacrificing himself instead. It's supposed to be super emotional, but I was just so happy he would finally shut up for one scene. He kills the moon's evil Venom AI, and the day is saved, and the moon Death Star corrects course, and the space people get out of there and go back to Earth and coincidentally land right near their families, so that's cute. The best part of the movie is where Patrick asks his ex-wife about her new husband, Michael Pena, the stepdad who died because he gave up his oxygen. She just starts crying in despair, and then Patrick is like, I'm so sorry. But the man has the biggest grin on his face now that the competition is out of the way. So then back on the moon, it turns out I could not get an iota of relief from James Corden, as the moon decided to upload his consciousness into the moon's operating system, and I have to listen to him even more. They tease another movie where they're like, we've got a lot of work to do. And Discount James Corden gives a really shitty smile. The end. Thank God. I'd rather an actual moon impact the Earth than watch this again. If ancient humans knew that by saving their species, and through the power of love, someone would end up making this, they would let the Venom AI Techno Cloud thing kill everything to avoid this. Overall, 1.5 out of 5. It had a good soundtrack, and sometimes the destruction was cool. Otherwise, I wanted to die. Do not see this movie unless you are on at least 3 different things at once. Also, don't do drugs. Until next time, where I would actually be shocked if the next movie I see is worse than this.
And just really, really impressive, and I wasn't expecting that, and wow, that shit was ass.